Welcome to
Every day it's macaroni.
I'm Joy Alfred Brand.
And I'm Juliette Connell, and we're the hosts of Everyday Macaroni, the podcast.
This podcast is a look at the lighter side of life, where we talk about our adventures as a modern blended family.
So sit back, relax,
And prepare to have your funny bone tickled. Welcome back to the podcast. In this episode, we're doing a deep dive into Al's dad humor and sharing some of his recent witty moments. Get ready for the ultimate dad humor, listener. It's everything you ever wanted in an awkward dad joke, stirred with a big ol' Spanglish spoon, and I just love it. I laughed and laughed while we were working on this episode, and I hope you do too. But before we get into the podcast, don't forget that if you have a blended family story to share, you can email it to us at info@everydaymacaroni.com and put share in the subject line. Your story might end up on a future episode, and we all know how fun that would be. Now, let's jump into the episode I'm calling I Make Funny, starting with a little background on Al. Well, the funniest thing about your dad and his jokes, I mean, we could talk all day long about his accent. That makes it funny, but I do think in general he's a funny guy. He has a funny sense of humor.
Yeah, I think so. He's a quiet guy, and I think the humor or his sense of humor gets him to be a little more social. I think that he uses that as the avenue to
Well, but initially I don't think he comes across as as a social guy because he's so quiet.
Right. He's always the one that sits back while my mom talks more than him. And she's more social, and she is louder, and that whole thing. So it's kind of like a nice dynamic.
I think you and I both agree your mom kind of takes the lead for the most part.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. She's a lot more social than my dad. And I think he's happy with that. I think it's a good dynamic between the two. She's the vivacious, outgoing, loud, can hold a conversation pretty much with anybody. And then my dad is happy sitting there being part of all of it, seeing the whole spectacle unfold, but is comfortable in his spot there. But every once in a while, he likes to be a little bit funny. That's kind of what draws him in. If he sees something funny, he's got that little kid sort of, I don't want to say little kid humor, you know, certain things, very simple things, make him laugh.
Okay, all right. You know he likes the pee-pee caca jokes.
Yeah.
You know he does.
Yeah.
Everyone does, even though most people don't want to admit it.
Right.
Everyone likes that kind of joke.
Right. And
that's like shooting fish in a barrel. That's low-hanging fruit right there. It is. Everybody can laugh. Yeah. Everybody.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And as much as you want to say, oh my God, that's disgusting, or that's so immature.
Or juvenile.
Or whatever. It's still, there's a point there where if you're with your family, or if you're with people that you know aren't going to judge you and are going to laugh just as hard as you, you're going to laugh. And that's where he is. I don't think he's uninhibited that way. I don't think he thinks, oh my gosh, all these people are going to think lesser of me. So that's when he opens his mouth. And unfortunately, what comes after that isn't always hitting the mark.
Okay, well, someday we can talk a little bit about my dad and his jokes. But for now, I think we got to stick to just the jokes that we have from Al. But I do think it's important to explain what we mean when we say, I make funny.
Yeah.
That's kind of important. Some years back, of course, there's that commercial with a little kid,
right,
who kind of looks like your dad as a little kid.
He really does. He's got this dark hair and he's a little bit husky, and he's trying to crack a joke like a 10-year-old always wants to crack a joke, and then somehow they miss that mark. Either their timing was off, or it wasn't the social atmosphere there. It just misses the mark. It's 99.9% there and delivered. And at that very last 10th of a point, it somehow flops.
It's fact check time, listeners. The commercial we were talking about is an AT&T commercial from 2013 where the kid that kind of looks like Al as a little kid, he's a really cute kid, he makes a dad joke about queening the dishes, and then he goes, I make a funny. It's a really cute commercial, and you can check it out through the link in the description as usual.
And you look at him, and he knows.
Oh, yeah. No, he knows, but he doesn't. Because in his own head, he's cracking.
It's funny. Oh,
he's
yeah. It's
cracking
hysterical.
himself
It's like
up.
it's like a fat hairy guy in a Speedo, right? He thinks that there's nothing better. Like, oh, look at me. I am so funny. I am so good looking. I am a ladies' man.
You sound like Count Chocula.
Oh, we should be so lucky. Again, I'm not great at accents. I'm just saying. And in my mind, whenever
Is he wearing a cape?
No, but in my mind, when I'm thinking about your dad, I'm thinking about Grape Ape riding on top of the van.
Now, when I think of my dad,
And he's always got a sandwich.
For those of you out there listening, I always thought my dad looked identical to Ricky Ricardo.
Hey, Lucy.
But he did.
You have some splaining to do.
You know, he had the really thick accent. He had that dark hair. He was
balding.
But he had that triangle, you know, like their top is bigger than their waist kind of thing, and he was always in a suit.
Wait a minute. Who your dad?
No, Ricky Ricardo.
Oh, okay, because I was going to say your dad's more like a column, less like a triangle, more like a rectangle.
Well, maybe now.
No.
Look, anyone that puts on a really good suit.
Oh, yeah.
Has got a nice...
It'll hide a lot of sins.
So
it'll hide a lot of sandwiches. Oh, yeah.
Actually, you know what? Just now I realized that looking at Ricky Ricardo as my dad and my mom really could be Lucy.
Well, Lucille Ball, though, she was taller, but she...
Well, yeah.
But she...
And she was American, too.
American,
so, I mean, you know.
and she was red-haired. Yeah, very red-headed. And
Even
your mother...
though I was watching the black and white, but... Okay.
Well, but Lucille Ball, she's a redhead. Everyone knows.
No. Yeah, I know.
And your mother, vibrant red hair. Vibrant.
I'm talking the dynamic between the two.
Yeah, the dynamic. But when I met your mother, by the time I met her, vibrant red hair. Vibrant.
My mom?
Yes, and your mother told me that when they would go, because, you know, your dad, he has opinions about this kind of stuff. He would drive her to the beauty salon, and she would go in to get her hair colored, and he would say, make it red, bright red, the brighter the better. So, yeah, the two of them together, not just the dynamic, but she's like a miniature...
Yeah, she is.
Lucille Ball,
right,
in a way.
You know, they had the curly hair and it was short.
And your dad's like a rounder version of Ricky Ricardo.
Yeah. He even had the little skinny tie, too, at one point.
I'm going to have to get a few of those pictures and put them on Instagram as well so folks can enjoy this.
Yeah, you know what? I have one. It's hanging on my wall as I'm going up the stairs. A hair with a little handkerchief on her on her head.
So they're dynamic. Kind of, I Love Lucy. A little bit.
Yep.
Yeah.
And it works well for them. He's quiet, she's not. She's social, he's not.
Well, I do think he is social in the right environment. He's social.
I'm
he
not
does
quite
have
sure what environment you're talking about. Because anytime we were at an aunt or an uncle's house or whatever, my dad's usually the one that's quiet.
Okay. Well,
He's
wait a minute.
Right in there. Now, I'm not saying that he's not laughing, because I had uncles who would make him laugh, you know, and they would laugh and poke jokes at this one or that one, and he was always the one laughing.
He likes humor. He likes comedians. He likes watching stand-up.
Yeah.
We've been on a cruise with your parents and your aunt and uncle, and both aunts and uncles. And we all went to see the stand-up comics, and your dad loved it.
Yeah.
He loves the stand-ups, right?
Oh my gosh, he loves the stand-up comics. He loves the cartoons, the Looney Tunes cartoons.
Oh, yeah, Tom and Jerry.
And that kind of stuff brings him back to when he was a kid, because you'd go to the penny cinema or whatever they called it, and there was always cartoons. So in South America, where he grew up, that's what they did.
And he's an enormous movie buff, too. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think part of the reason why your dad is so quiet is because you people are all so loud.
We have to be loud.
My left ear, I don't want to make too many jokes about this, but sometimes my left ear rings at night on Monday nights. I'm just saying, your mother, very, very, very loud. I can see where trying to compete with that for 60 years now?
Ooh, who's 60 years? What?
Haven't they been married for like 60 years?
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Is that right?
58? I think it's 58.
So close to 60 years.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So having to compete with that for close to 60 years.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
And it's not just that your mother is loud. Her voice tends to cut across everyone else's somehow. I don't exactly know how that works, what the science is behind it. I'm pretty sure dogs across the state can hear her.
I'm guessing you grew up as one of 5 kids. You're going to be loud.
It's just the 2 of them. They live by themselves.
Well, yeah.
And have for many years.
Apparently now they're losing their hearing. So. So let the loudness get louder. I don't know.
I wonder if that's actually not what's happening, but your dad's acting like that's what.
I see what you're saying. Yeah,
I wonder if your dad's just acting like he can't hear her.
That's right. I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway.
Kind of like, I don't know how to cook so that I don't have to cook.
Well, just act like you can't do it, and then you don't have to eventually.
There you go.
We got off track a little bit, but we were talking about how we make jokes about your dad. I make funny.
Mm-hmm. Right. So the I make funny thing gets him out of his shell, right? And gives him sort of the avenue to be part of the conversation. At least I think, anyway.
Well, and the other part of that is he's not a native English speaker.
Right, which makes whatever it is, joke, whatever that he's saying, it does, even though I'm used to it and I grew up with their accents and I don't necessarily think they're thick accents. There are some, obviously they probably are, but it just makes it that much more funny that it's not funny, but you're laughing anyway.
I will say this, though. Some of the words that they say, their pronunciations and how they say things fills me with complete delight.
You mean like cocodrile?
And gypsy lube.
Yeah, not Jiffy lube. Gypsy lube.
No, pronounce that correctly. It's crocodile.
Oh.
That's French.
Cocodrilo.
Crocodile.
Right? How do you say it in Spanish?
Cocodrilo.
There you go. You
You said French.
You remember those Twinkies that were covered in
Cocodrilo
chocolate?
y alligator.
Yeah.
Some
Crocodiles.
different, but it's the same family.
Yeah, a crocodile and
Well, that is why it was difficult for me to say
You can say it.
crocodile. It was very hard for me to say it, so I
How do you
would
say
say
aluminum?
alligator.
How do you say,
Aluminum.
I'm going to cook a chicken in the kitchen?
In Castilian, you
No,
want?
in English.
Oh, I want to cook a chicken in what?
In the kitchen.
In the kitchen. No, the thing was,
Here it comes.
I made mistakes, quite a few. Excuse me, and excuse me, there were 2 things that they were so similar. The other thing, chicken and kitchen, chicken, kitchen. Oh, confusion. Those things, and so at the beginning, I was saying kitchen or chicken when I had to say the other thing, crocodile, and all those things.
And when we talk about the porks and the pantyhoses, oh yes.
Uh-huh.
Yes.
Yeah. You know, one of my favorites is the pajams.
No, he says pajams.
Oh, is it pajams?
I was still in my pajams. I love it. And then you're like, oh, no, that's not what you say. You say pajamas. And I'm sitting there thinking to myself, shh, don't correct them. It's so funny.
Speaking about I made a funny, just this Sunday alone, just a couple of days, my dad was in rare form.
So let's go ahead and roll the clip, and then we'll talk about it.
Yes.
I'm interrupting this podcast to remind you to listen very carefully to the clips because audio can be tricky at the dinner table and you don't want to miss the good stuff. If you do, you can always back it up a little, which is funny for so many reasons. Now, I don't want to spoil it for you, but you'll understand what I mean in a few minutes. And now, back to the podcast.
You guys can have them with coffee.
They're diabetic friendly. That's his mom. Yeah, I know. I'm
They got
Has
no.
pumpkin, so a lot of fiber.
All right.
You know, helps you poop.
They got the seeds too.
Yeah,
The pumpkin seeds.
she just went on the
You
last
got them in
day.
there too?
No,
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
sisters, they look a lot alike. I
I
know.
don't want to
You and I
be
both. Whose red bag is this?
You know what?
No, the
I don't
It's
want
in
this
the
scratch
red flowers. Oh, that's really the end of it.
when I go to the bathroom.
Ay,
That's the
Aldo.
last.
¿No ves que horrorizas a tu
That's the
hijo?
last.
Oh,
Yeah,
boy.
nothing else.
Él es tan,
Now you just go in
él
my
siempre tan cuidadoso de lo que habla.
Dad wants to make sure that we don't serve him anything with pumpkin seeds.
Why?
I'm sorry. Wait. I'm sorry.
No.
What? It's
Oh, no.
exactly what he said.
Lady?
No, I said to
Oh,
Ron,
very
did
good.
you put the pumpkin seeds on it too? Because I don't want to be scratched. He said,
Papa, it's
it has a lot of
not
pumpkin, right? And that makes you go to the bathroom. And I
Yeah.
said, well, because the
Well,
pumpkin
are you
seeds.
are you
I don't
chewing
like
them or just swallowing them whole?
He doesn't, you know,
If he sold them all, he said.
you
Either
know,
way,
yes.
you're talking more of a fine
know,
grit
it-
or a coarser grit.
This is what I'm talking about.
You got a little bit of everybody in that one.
A
didn't
little
you?
bit of everybody,
You got a
yes.
little. Yeah, you can hear them all. Ay, Aldo, stop terrorizing your son. He's always so careful with what he says.
That's what she's saying in Spanish? I don't speak enough Spanish to understand what she's saying. So I know she's saying something about stop talking.
Yeah, because my
basically.
dad ends up in the gutter somewhere, and she, even though she's laughing, will say, you know,
Oh, yeah, because she thinks it's funny. You know, she thinks it's
let's
hysterical.
elevate this conversation. And why are you doing that to Ron?
Oh, don't do that to him.
My porro niño.
Oh, little Ronya. Which doesn't that mean dirt in Spanish?
It's grime.
Oh. Well, anyway. So I know she's saying something. She's saying, stop talking, basically.
Right. I mean, essentially, stop talking that
Garbage.
dirty whatever. Ron is always so careful with what he says. Don't bring him into the gutter with you, so to speak.
But the best one is your dad.
Oh, yeah.
Yes. Talking about the pumpkin seeds and mispronouncing pumpkin.
Yes, because pumpkin,
Yeah, well,
it's close.
it is a pumpkin, It's a pumpkin.
It's a pumpkin. You know what I'm saying. Enough said. Okay.
But I did love Caitlin. Are you chewing them up or swallowing them whole?
I know.
That was funny. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's just one example of the conversations that go on during Monday night dinner.
Oh, yeah. And here's another one.
The Roomba is a good thing to do every day, but it doesn't vacuum like a vacuum.
Yeah.
It doesn't have the suction like a real
Yeah.
vacuum.
It just
So
keeps-
it'll pick up dog hair and dust.
You know who needs
That's what
a
it picks
Roomba?
up.
Judith has a Roomba?
You can't hear
What
it.
was that? That was you.
That was not me.
That was you.
You even made the face.
Oh yeah, 'cause I could hear it. Either that or it was that one over there. What? Your stomach?
Yeah, the stomach.
Was that you?
Yeah,
I wasn't sure if it was you or,
but it was the stomach.
or if it was like a door.
It was the
He doesn't
stomach.
went
Don't
through the
think about
tunnel.
nothing
Nah,
else.
not the tunnel. Didn't go through the tunnel yet.
No, it was the stomach.
It's almost like the Lincoln Tunnel, but it's the Lita Tunnel. Yeah, and when it's open, lots of gas and fumes.
No. Don't go there.
No, I know. Don't.
No, it's still too.
No, we know.
No, it's not enough. The stomach, okay? You
There's a reason why you're down at the other end.
But anyway.
I can't believe we could hear it.
I know. You can actually hear it. And she says it was just her stomach. What's funny about that is, okay, there's a lot of things that are funny about that. The first thing that's funny about that is, you notice she doesn't say a word until basically Ron goes around the table and he's like
Accusing everybody.
right.
He's
And
the,
until he gets to her.
the inquisitor.
Well, if it's not you, because you sit right next to her, and clearly the sound was coming from your corner of the table, right? So if it's not you, it must have been her.
Right.
What's funny is we can hear it on the recording.
Yeah.
And she doesn't say a word
No.
until she's actually called out, like specifically.
That's right. Those are the rules.
Let me just try to hide. Let me just try to act. But your dad.
Those are the rules in genteel society.
Oh, of course. Yes. Mm-hmm. Let's just ignore it and act like it doesn't happen, right? But your dad, his comment about
I know. The tunnel.
it doesn't go through the tunnel. That kicks the whole thing off. That's so funny.
Yeah. That was funny because I'm sitting here listening to it and I could not believe you're.
And here's a bonus bit for you.
Batteries?
Like I saw the.
Or is it the
movie,
chemical
like,
cracking or what?
He's far.
What? Someone's lighting their farts? What are you talking about?
Yeah.
What's he? Were you lighting your farts?
I didn't even know about the movie.
I don't remember if
I
it
don't
was
watch the
American
movie.
Pie or.
He stays
Oh,
until 3
really?
o'clock in the morning watching movies. He is crazy. Crazy.
It was so dark you could see the flash. Gee.
Wow.
I don't remember now because I was saying I'm gonna say something. He can plug it up.
That was in a movie, or that's what you did?
It was in a movie, yeah.
And the pippi-kaka jokes just keep on.
I was gonna say, my God, you just. If Caitlin gets cold working outside,
Go ahead.
go ahead. Oh, okay. Give her a can of beans
Oh!
and a lighter.
No.
I knew it.
And if she's working at night,
Yeah, like
Then you got the light.
it's like an emergency signal.
Or if any bear that comes in the room.
There you go. Tell her. She'll singe the bear hair.
It's not until you hear these recordings that you hear so much commotion going on during these dinners. It's not, and I'm sure it's the same at everybody's house, but it's not one person talking and the other person responding and the rest of us listening. It's everyone talking at the exact same time, not about the same thing. And then all of a sudden, he makes a funny.
And everyone zeroes
And
in.
everyone focuses in. And everyone is on the same page all at the same time. It's like a well orchestrated theater production right there.
It's kind of one of those things where he just does it in such a way that everyone just kind of grabs onto it. I don't know how to explain it.
And the funny thing is that he does it quite often. So we should not be so surprised. We should not be, but it takes all of us.
But I don't think it's that we're surprised. I don't think that's what's going on. I think what's going on is we're waiting to hear how it's going to go.
Well, maybe that's it. We're waiting to hear
Where
is he
it's
going to
really-
say the story correctly and it's still going to be funny because it was a funny story, or is he going to chop it into a million pieces and then put it all together in a Spanglish souffle and serve it. Right? We're all kind of waiting to see
But it's so delicious
what
no
the
matter
delivery.
what.
I guess it's the delivery. We're
Well,
all waiting on the delivery
But
of
yeah,
the piece.
that's every dad in the United States, whether
Yes.
or not
Yes.
he was actually born here or English is his first
absolutely.
language.
Yeah.
It's every
just
dad in the United States.
His is sprinkled with a little bit of, saffron.
Sofrito.
Sofrito.
Well, there you have it, listener. Another fun episode of Everyday Macaroni. I feel like I should give a shout out to Jiffy Lube, who is not a sponsor of this podcast episode, but deserves an honorable mention for having their name mispronounced for all these years. Before we go, here's a little clip from our next episode where we're talking about our furry family members.
Hey, I love you, my boy. I love you, my boy.
Thursday.
Down, get down.
Because she had sent
Down.
me.
Okay.
Hello, lady. Hello, lady. You're such a sweet lady. All right.
a sweet lady.
Thanks for listening, and don't forget to chew your pumpkin seeds before you swallow them. This has been a public service announcement from the Spanglish Pumpkin Association. I hope you enjoyed listening and sharing a laugh or two with us. Stay tuned for more everyday macaroni adventures on future podcast episodes. And if you want to see some pictures of us, you can follow us on Instagram by searching @everydaymacaroni or #everydaymacaroni. If you want to shop for some fun macaroni merch, head over to our website, everydaymacaroni.com. Don't forget, if you have a blended family story to share, email us at info@everydaymacaroni.com and put the word share in the subject line. Your story might end up on a future podcast episode. How fun would that be? Finally, don't forget to give us a like, share, download, or a good review. The more interaction we get for the podcast, the more episodes we can post. Again, thanks for listening, and join us for the next episode of
Every day is macaroni.